Hello, my name is Haley Fisher, and I'm going to be teaching you how to divide a mixed number fractions and also converting feet to meters. So to start out with, we're going to do the dividing mixed fractions first. So we're going to start out with 5 2/3 divided by 3 1/8. So first, just write out your problem. After you've written your problem, the first step is to write as improper fractions. So that step would look like, well, first, in order to do that, for the first one you would do 5 times 3 was 15, plus 2 is 17, and the denominator stays the same. So the first one would be 17 over 3. For the second one, 3 times 8 equals 24, plus 1 is 25, and again you keep the denominator, so it would be 25 over 8. Okay, now your equation should look something like this. The next step is to keep, change, flip. So to do the keep, change, flip, you keep this fraction, you change division to multiplication, and then you flip this fraction. So it would look something like this. Instead of reading 17 over 3 divided by 25 over 8, it would read 17 over 3 times 8 over 25. And then you would just multiply out like normal. Numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. And that would give you 136 over 75. You can either multiply it out on pen and paper or use a calculator, whichever you prefer. With these small numbers, you probably wouldn't need a calculator. Now, the final step is to simplify. Now, this fraction right here cannot be simplified any smaller, although it can be written as it can also be written two other ways. It can be written as an improper fraction, as you see up here, which cannot go any smaller. It can also be written as a mixed number. That would look like 1 and 61 over 75. It can also be written as a decimal, just depending on what you're being asked for. The decimal for this answer is 1.81 and repeating 3. Now for the second problem. Okay. Okay. So the next problem is converting feet to meters. So this is the problem that I came up with. It says, how many meters are in 45 feet? So the first step you're going to need to do is find the conversion factor. And for this one, there's two different ones you can use. The one that works for this problem, from going feet to meters, is is 1 foot equals 0.3048 meters. Now, if you are going meters to feet, then this would be the conversion factor that you would use. Would be 1 meter equals 3.28 feet. But we're not going to use this one. We're going to use this one up here because we're going feet to meters. Okay, so once you find your conversion factor, the next step you're going to want to do is figure out if you're going to be multiplying or dividing. This particular problem, you're going to multiply. So, you would do 45 times 0.3048, and it would look like that. Now, again, you can use a calculator, but we're going to be using multiplication. So, you would write it out, 0.3048 times 45. Now, and it should look something like this. Now, notice how I left the decimal out. We're going to go back to that at the end, okay? Now, you just multiply it out like normal. Okay, so it should look something like this. Now, back to the decimal. Up here, there are 4 digits behind the decimal. So for your answer, there will be 4 digits behind the decimal as well. If we were adding 2 numbers with decimals in it, you would add the sum of the digits behind the decimals. But since we're dealing with a whole number, there's only 4 digits behind the decimal. So you would count back 4 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the decimal would go between the 3 and the 7. Okay? So your answer would be 13.7160. But That's not quite the answer. Whenever you're dealing with measurements or anything with a unit, your answer is not complete until you mark the unit behind it. So for this, it will be meters. So it would look like that. You could write meters out if you wanted to, or just use the abbreviation, which is an M. And there's your answer. I hope this helped.